So in this case, now let's continue on. So that very same day, we end up putting in another purchase order, order number 17304, to Furniture Store once again. And this time, we bought 10 sets of one bistro table and 2 chairs. Each set is gonna cost me $605. So that times 10 of them is gonna be $6,055.50. Okay, so in this case, large purchase. Okay, so in this case, this is just a purchase order. So what do we do with purchase orders? What do we do with purchase orders?
Log it into your purchase orders.
Awesome. Okay, that's what we're going to do. Purchase orders. It is June 7. We are going to be purchasing from Furniture Store once again. And this time we bought tables. / chairs. And for a total of $6,055.50. Okay. All right. So let's see what has happened next. Okay. Here, someone tells me that Mr. Holly Bros rejected our check because it was not 1/3 of the price. So in this case, we looked over our purchase order once again and found out that the exact price for 1/3 of it, the amount is actually $1,171.87. So in this case, we made a mistake in our journal because we wrote a check for the wrong amount, and the purchase order, we need to revise it because 1/3 of the payment is not $11.40 it's $11.71 So in this case, we need to reverse and re-entry this journal transaction because we need to correct it because it was wrong in the first place. So in this case, I want you to just only do the reverse and re-entry. So we're going to reverse the transaction, and then we're going to enter it in for the correct amount, and we're going to cut out a brand new check because that should be the best rule of thumb is you never send another check with the leftover amount. Some of them do, if that's the case. So if you let them keep that, you're still going to end up cutting another check anyway for the remaining amount. But however, let's just cancel the check and then just reissue a new one. So that's what we're going to do. So let's take a look at here. So my purchase order, I actually need to revise it. Okay, revise it to say that the amount that is supposed to be sent in is going to be for the 1171 opposed to 1140. So in this case, what I'm going to do here is because we have Excel, I'm going to double click this and I'm just going to say R. Because we don't actually have the purchase order form itself, so we can't just go in there and modify it ourselves. In this case, that's the purchasing person's job, right? But there isn't anybody. So if Bob ordered it, then he's going to be fixing that. And all I got to do is just say it's been revised. Okay? So then now I need to do things in order because I have to undo a few things. So first thing that I have here is that I need to reverse the transaction. So in this case, I cut them a check, right, out for $11.70 as a prepaid account, right? Remember, it was our down payment, right? So in this case, I need to undo that. So basically, I need to take my voucher and I'm going to be receiving my money back into the system, right? Because I'm going to be canceling the check. If I cancel the check or void the check, then the money's gonna either if it's left, it would return back to it. But in this case, maybe they received it, but they said no to it. So you need to void that check so that person doesn't go and deposit that check anymore. So in this case, making sure that this check is canceled, okay, and this was a prepaid account, right? Because we made a down payment. So checking 10-100, prepaid should have been 18-600. So in this case, we're going to refund it for the amount of the 11.40 and 22 cents. Okay? And of course, now I also have to write here to correct the entry on June 6th. Okay? To correct entry for Hallie Rose on June 6th. Okay? So now that I have this, right, rule of thumb here is we need to cancel a few things. We need to cancel first our check because we voided it. So in this case, I'm going to go to the check register, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to post that it is voided. Okay? You could choose the color if you'd like. In this case, it doesn't really matter, but if I want it red, I can make it red so you know that it is voided. Okay? Whatever you want to do. If you want to cross out the number, that's fine too. But remember, rule of thumb here is voiding does not take the transaction out, right? It leaves it there. Okay? So in this case, I want to keep my check 1506 there. But we don't have the check 1506 because I'm not going to tell them to send it back. I'm just going to simply call the bank and void the check so then Hallie Rose doesn't go and try to transfer that money into their checking account. Okay? So in this case, it is voided. All right? So now I need to go to my ledger because I already voided my check. So I need to also indicate on my checking section here that I'm going to say it is the 7th, and I'm going to go ahead and put in void check number 1506. Okay, and what does voiding a check do? It reverts the money back into your checking account for the 11.40 and 22 cents. So in this case, I go from 10,221 back to 11,361. Okay. And of course, right, not only do I have to do that, I also have to adjust my prepaid accounts because I canceled this order. Okay? Or I cancel the check, so I revert my prepaid accounts. Okay? Office equipment. Okay, here we are, prepaid accounts. So in this case, right here, 7, you could say void check number 1506, down payment on PO number 1703. Okay. Reference number again, we're still on general journal number 2, but because I reversed the transaction, should be decreasing my prepaid amount back to 665417. Okay. So now that I did that, now what do I do to my subsidiary ledger? Okay. In this case, right, if I go to my subsidiary ledger, I'm just going to edit and modify that this right here is voided. So that's all I have there because in this case, I don't need to remove it. I don't need to make any changes to it because I want to keep a track record of where my money went. And in this case, I don't want to display. I don't want to get rid of this information. I'm going to keep it there because at the end of the day, right? Even if I void it, my transaction that I have here is still going to be zero. Right? It's still going to be zero because I don't owe them anything. Right? And I voided the check. So in this case, if I did do this right and said that I didn't pay them, it'd still be zero at the end of the day. All right? So that is that right there. So now, next portion is I need to go ahead and adjust this and cut a new check and record the correct entry this time. So I'm going to go ahead and enter that in, right? Because now I need to repurchase or put that down payment back, but this time it is for the correct amount, and I'm going to be issuing a brand new check. All right, so in this case, we're going to, right, we already reversed the transaction. Now I'm going to be entering the transaction with the correct amount. Okay, so prepaid accounts and checking. This time it's for the $11.71.87. Right? Now that I have the correct amount, I can now go to my check register and cut a new check. Okay? For the $11.71.87. And it's to Hallie Bros. Okay. All right, so now that I cut the new check for the $11.71.87, right, check number 1507, I can now go ahead and finish up my journal to post the correct amount, okay? So in this case, it is to Hallie Bros. Okay, this time, this is for the purchase order 17303R because it's been revised. Okay, and of course, I wrote check number 1507. Okay, and of course, if you want to add the information saying this is a 1/3 down the payment, again, your purchase order should be able to tell you what this is, especially if you're correcting the error from previous, then it should be straightforward. Okay. So now that I got the check, I've already updated my journal, right? I already updated my purchase orders. Now I need to go ahead and plug those numbers into my ledger because now it's being updated for the correct amount. So in this case, I am here on the 7, right? You're going to just go ahead and say 1/3 down payment, okay, on purchase order number 170303R, okay? And if you want to put the check number, you can. It is up to you. Okay. We're still on General Journal 2, and this time it's for the $11.71.87. So now it's correctly adjusted by the total amount here. Okay? All right? And of course, right, we must update our checking account because we just reissued a brand new check. Okay? Check number 1507 for the $11.71.87. So now my checking account has now decreased for the correct amount here. All right. Good so far? Last section is now we have to absolutely update my subsidiary ledger just because now I have a new check that I've written now, a new purchase order, right? and or a revised purchase order. And this time I need to fill in the information accordingly, right? And I'm going to copy this top part, except the only difference here is that the information, such as the check number, is going to be different. So that's what I do. In this case, I just use the autofill tool, and I'm going to revise it this right here. Okay. That the difference here is I ordered the coffee, brewer and grinder. It was a third of the price down payment, and I paid using check number 1507. Okay, this one is going to be purchase order number, right? Not 303, but 303R, because it was revised. Okay, and of course, we're still on General Journal 2. Whoops. General Journal number 2 here. We haven't received the bill yet. But in this case, it on my purchase order, it was $1171.87. Okay, and of course, we paid for it. So therefore, I owe Haley Brothers nothing, right? Still haven't applied the prepayment yet because, again, in this case, we wrote the wrong check. We voided it. So now everything still goes here, and we have our correct information put into our subsidiary ledger accordingly. Okay? Any questions?
No.
Okay. So that's correcting our error that we had in our journal. Okay. So then let's go ahead and see what happened next. Same day, this time we actually end up receiving another bill from Furniture Store, right? And we received our desk set. So in this case, here's the information here. It's due in 15 days. Okay, invoice number 71. Okay, here we purchased one desk set, right, which cost me $562. So here is the subtotal plus the tax. Okay, so tax came out to be a total of $46.37, right? Plus there were shipping charges of $50. So here gives me the grand total due for the desk set to be a grand total of $658.37. Right? So how should I journalize that I acquired a desk? How should I journalize that I acquire more furniture?
Just write down desk.
Okay, so in this case, chart of accounts. Do we have a desk set?
Furniture.
Yep, it is furniture, but specifically, do we have a desk set? Yes, we do, right? 1330. So in this case, desk set is my account. Okay, 1330. And how did I pay for it? Did I pay for it now?
It's on account.
It's on an account because I'm not going to pay now. I'm going to choose to pay later. Right? I'm going to pay 15 days later. So, okay. So in this case, what is now going to be the total amount for my desk?
The 658.37.
$658.37, because here this price already includes the tax and the freight charges, right? Because we only bought one item and one item only, right? This is what the total came out to be. So this is going to be everything that you need to calculate this cost. And on top of that, it's a desk set. It's not going to take that much hard labor to put a desk together. Okay, right? You don't need to pay anybody to put a desk together, so it is ready for service. So 658, oops, 65837 is my total amount for my desk. Okay. So we have everything that we need, right? Such as who did we buy this from? Furniture store. Okay. What was the invoice number? In this case, it was 71. And do we have terms? This bill is going to be due in 15 days. Okay. And that is plenty enough information. So, number one thing that we need to do first is record that we received the desk. So in this case, we received the desk set. Oh, I don't know why I have this in here. Okay, there you go. We got the desk, which was quoted for $562, which is correct, but we have to include the tax and freight. So in this case, yes, we received it with invoice number 71. Okay, so here we're still pending on our coffee brewer and coffee grinder, and we're also pending on our tables that we just submitted an order for. Okay. So here we are. So now that my journal is done, I'm going to post it to my ledger. So assets. Okay, so in this case, I bought more furniture. Okay. And in this case, I'm very specific. I bought a desk set. So here you can type in all your information, such as, right, how much was the desk itself? Cost me $562 plus $46.37 tax. Okay. So again, I purchased one desk, which equaled $562 plus 8.25% tax, which gave me $46.37 plus $50 shipping, is what's going to result me to my grand total amount. We're still on General Journal 2. We reached the bottom of General Journal 2 for the grand total amount of $658.37. Okay. And I reached the bottom of page 2, right? Now in this case, right, I end up receiving another bill from Furniture Store, and I didn't make a payment, so I need to make sure that I do keep track of this bill through the subsidiary ledger. So in this case, Furniture Store's right here, right? It is the 7, and what I can say is I bought one desk set. Okay, you don't need to add the values here because you could just pull up the receipt and you would see everything that you need to see there. 71 is the invoice. We're still on General Journal 2, and we also received the terms of net 15. So in this case, again, when you have net 15, it's based on the date that you receive the bill, or the bill will date when the date will give you the date. So in this case, right, what is 15 days from the 7th, right? We've already solved that from above, which gives us June 22nd. So that means we have until June 22nd to pay for this bill. Okay. And this bill came out to be $658.37. And of course, because we didn't pay for it, right? If we copy this formula all the way down, now check it out. Again, this row only tells me for the amount of which bill that is, again, that we received. So in this case, for bill, the invoice number for 69, it was going to be the 1770, right? For the separate bill of 71, right? The invoice for 71 gave us a grand total of $560.37. So again, this right here, this column's only going to give us the separate amount that we owe for the particular bill, right? But down below tells me what amount I have. Sorry, excuse me one second. Okay, so then in this case, right, bill number 71 came out to be $658.37. Now, this gray bar right here tells me the grand total amount that I owe this vendor. So in this case, I owe Furniture Store in grand total $2,428.67. And that's how I want you to use this table is every row is going to be a separate bill. And then in grand total, when you have your running balance for each vendor, that's where this gray bottom line says. It gives you a grand total of all of your bills combined together. Okay, and if this formula, right, if you don't have it already in there, it's just equal sum this column. Okay, all right, so that's that there. Okay, all right, so now that we received our furniture, right, we received our desk set, let's see what else has happened next. Last thing that I have here is start water and Las Vegas City services through Nevada Utilities. So in this case, what does this piece of information tell us? Is this something I need to journalize?
You haven't paid anything yet, so no.
Good, right? All we did was start the water, right? We the NV utilities turn on the water, and also we're gonna start paying for Vegas City services. So again, trash, right? That's one of the things. Sweeping the street, those kind of services, right? Things that are done by the community. So I guess this just tells us that we just started it, and then that means when we receive our bill, we should be, including this as part of the utilities bill that you will be receiving soon. So in this case, last thing that we have here is create your trial balance. Okay, so in this case, I am done with my transaction for the first week of Coffee Cafe because now it tells me I need to stop and create my account, my trial balance. So what does this tell me? This basically tells me that I'm going to stop here because it's June 7, and I'm going to do a trial balance just to ensure that I did when I was journalizing my transactions that, again, I followed the debit equals the credit rule, right? But second thing is because the trial balance actually stems out from the ledger, okay, we didn't make any errors transferring from the journal into the ledger, okay? So in this case, what I like to do is, this is just personal preference for me, is I do like to block off this bar right here just to let me know that when I'm done with this transaction, that means I can go ahead and move on to the next set of transactions if my trial balance comes out even, right? That when I'm testing my trial balance is, did my total debits equal my total credits? So again, I want to also indicate here that this is where I'm going to do my trial balance, okay, for week 1 of Coffee Cafe, right? Just to give me a little separation here. Now again, this is optional. You don't have to do it. So that means the next time I do another transaction, I'm going to go ahead and start on page 3 of my journal. Okay? But for now, this bar also indicates that anything that happened before then, so if I do need to make a correcting error, right, then you would correct it that way. But again, since we are with technology, it might be just easier just to go ahead and just fix the problem when you see it. Okay? So there you go. I finished. That means I am done with my journal and I will not need it unless I need to see where my entry is and where I can correct it. So in this case, I can put my my journal down. And all I need for this particular section is just my general ledger, okay? And I need my financial forms because that's going to be how we test our trial balance. Now, please do not confuse the trial balance as step 5 of the accounting cycle. Do not confuse that with the adjusted trial balance, okay? They are 2 separate things. However, yes, they do the same thing because you are required to do an unadjusted trial balance at the end of the accounting period. But again, this is to kind of help us through along with our transactions, because if I can do this every single week, then I can guarantee the accuracy of my accounting a lot quicker and a lot easier, because then I don't have to scroll through all the transactions to find where my discrepancy is, right? If I can say the first 7 days of my transaction, if I can prove that my trial balance is okay, like they match both of them, then I can ensure that my accounting was done successfully. And that means the next time I do my trial balance and there's an error, that means I made an error between the next set of transactions that I did. But the first 7 days of transaction and my trial balance came out perfectly fine, then that means the first 7 days of me journalizing this is fine. It's clear. It's safe. It's been tested, and we have the even amount of debits to the even amount of credits. Okay, so that means we don't need to go looking into transactions from the first all the way to the 7th to find our error. Our error will begin from the next set of transactions that I do record. So in this case, that's my goal here. Is the goal of a trial balance, okay, is also separate from a a balance sheet, right? The balance sheet tests that all of my assets equals my liabilities and equity. In this case, right, we're not testing that. We're testing to make sure that when I did journal my transactions, right, that I did put them in the correct amounts in the correct accounts, and that I did post them correctly into my ledger. So first things first is, this is what we need to do. A trial balance is going to list out every single account associated in your chart of accounts. And if you want to put it in order, it just makes it that much more easier for you to, fill in. Now, in this case, right, we have our bank as our very first account here, right, in my assets. If there's a 0 balance in your account, do you think it's necessary to put this information in your trial balance? If I have a 0 account balance, Right. Is that necessary to put in my trial balance? You said no?
You have to.
Why would we have to? Why would we have to put in all of our accounts even if there's a zero balance in there?
But that's the activity.
Well, in this case, did we use the bank account? You said it was for the activity, right? Did we ever use the bank account itself?
No, no, you didn't use it yet.
No, we never used the bank account. So in this case, we had no activity in my actual bank account, okay? Now, also, tell me this. If a zero balance, right? If I put in that my bank account was a zero balance, will that affect my business transaction if I have a zero in there?
No.
No, it wouldn't, because again, if I have a zero debit balance, what does that tell me? Nothing, right? It doesn't increase my account by anything, and it doesn't decrease my account by anything because it's zero. So in this case, the trial balance is only going to record any accounts that actually have a balance, okay? So again, this is technically step 5, right? Except we're just testing our accounting equation to make, or not accounting equation, but we're testing to make sure that the accuracy of our accounting is correct between the first 7 days of transaction. So let's start with our first account here in order, starting with our assets. So very first account is bank. There's no account balance. So next account I have here is my checking account. For sure, we did a lot of activity in my actual checking account. So in this case, if I have a lot of account activity, this is where I'm going to go ahead and enter in my account checking. Okay. In this case, you can have it however you like. I'm just going to type it in. So in my checking account, what right now is my current account balance as of June 7th? So remember, my trial balance is as of June 7th. So what is my account balance going to be right now? How much do I actually have in my checking account?
That 10,189.42.
Good, right? I have 10,189.42. I missed the number. 10,189.42. Okay? If you want to format this in the way that looks good, it's up to you. I don't really care. But I'll go ahead and format this to dollar sign so you guys can tell. Okay, so I have it right now. I currently have a debit balance of $10,189.42. Right? Let's see what happened next. Okay, what account is next? We have our petty cash. Did we establish one yet?
No.
No. What about cash and register? I bought the register, but did I put money in it yet?
No.
No. What about what about an account receivable? I haven't sold my products yet. I haven't even bought my products yet. So in this case, no account receivable, no allowance for doubtful accounts. Did I buy any business supplies, which include my coffee cups, my sugar, my creamer? Of course, I didn't buy anything yet, right? What about office supplies? Okay, I just bought my printer, but have I printed anything yet? Do I have the need to print anything yet? So in this case, I haven't even bought office supplies yet. Okay. Inventory, right? Like I've mentioned before, right? We haven't sold anything to anybody. We don't even have inventory yet, right? And we'll talk about inventory in the next week, okay? Which is tomorrow. So again, here, no inventory, right? My inventory here is buying regular coffee and Supreme coffee, and I'm going to be selling also ceramic coffee mugs. So in this case, no inventory, okay? What about furniture? Do I have an account balance in my furniture?
No.
Okay, so right now I've made some changes to my furniture account, okay? When I first acquired the furniture, I bought it for $4,000. But the very same day I opened up my bank account, I end up selling my furniture. So in this case, I have zero balance in my furniture right now. And of course, like I said, do we have an account balance? No, because $0 in my furniture is not going to affect my debits and credits at all, right? It's not going to change anything, right? So we can skip over this. Even though we have activity in it, there's no actual balance in there right now, right? Did I buy tables and chairs yet? Right? I ordered it, but did I buy it? Not yet. I didn't receive a bill. They didn't deliver it to my store yet. So nothing there. Okay. What about my counter? What's my account balance in my counter?
$11.93.22. Oh.
Yeah, that's correct. So in this case, I did buy a counter and it's right now currently worth $11.93 and 22 cents. Okay. Next account I have here is my desk set. What's my account balance in my desk? Okay. In this case, I have a debit balance. So therefore, because it's a debit balance, you're going to transfer it into your columns accordingly, right? In this case, I'm going to put it on my debit side because that's what my current account balance is, right? Right now, it is at $658.37 on the debit side. Okay. This is also where a lot of the times you're transferring from your ledger to your trial balance. You can make your typos here. So make sure that when you're transferring the information, you make sure you check on your ledger in making sure that it is correct on your trial balance. Okay. All right, next what I have here are display shelves. Yes, right? What's my account balance in my display shelves? Right, 577 and 8 cents. Okay. All right, what about office equipment? In this case, no office equipment except for I did buy a computer, I did buy a printer, and I did also buy a cash register. So in this case, I did buy office equipment. I just did not buy it together as a whole, right? I bought it separately. So in this case, I bought my computer. Okay, so remember, my main accounts are going to be the ones in capital letters. This is my sub account for my computer. Okay, and in this case, how much is my computer worth? What's my account balance here? $1834.84. Okay. Let's see what's next. I bought my printer. How much is my printer for? $378.87. Okay. How much was my cash register for? $649.49, right, on the debit side, because I acquired an asset. Okay. Did I buy any equipment? Okay, I did, but it's separated, right? I bought specific equipment. In this case, my first equipment here is going to be my coffee brewer. Okay. Right now, I currently have one coffee brewer. All right, how much is it? $1,900 for my coffee brewer. Okay. Did I buy my coffee grinder yet? No, right? I submitted an order and put down payment. I haven't received the items yet. So in this case, I do not have a coffee grinder. Okay. So let's see what's next is vehicles. Okay. Did I buy a truck yet? No. Okay. No vehicle, no truck. So the next account I have here is prepaid accounts. In this case, a lot of activity in my prepaid accounts. All right, so what's my account balance in my prepaid accounts? Account.
$78,2604.
782604. Okay. What about deposits? Yes, I made a lot of deposits as well. Okay. What's my account balance in my deposits? 1,700, right? I have one for rent, one for water, one for electricity, and one for gas. There, 1,700. Okay. Let's see what is next. Okay. And do I have goodwill? In this case, what's my account balance under goodwill, right? I acquired the business name. 2,100. Okay. No amortization yet. We won't do that till the end of the accounting period. All right. And then miscellaneous expense is my last account, which has no account balance. Okay. So now we can move on to our liabilities. Okay. First account on my liabilities is going to be an accounts payable. Okay. In this case, what is my credit balance in my accounts payable account? Did we not enter in our bill that we received for the desk? I guess not. So there you go. I already realized I have a mistake here. Invoice number 71. Okay. General Journal 2 for $658.37. Right? That's what it was in my journal. Desk set, accounts payable. Yep. So I guess I missed that one. All right. We entered in the desk. We entered this in, and we also entered the bill. So in this case, what is my account balance in my accounts payable account. Oops.
$34.28.67.
34.28.67. 34.28.67. Okay, on the credit side. Okay. Did we have any credit card transactions here? We haven't received our credit card yet, so in this case, nothing there. And notes payable is going to be our last account. How much is my balance for my notes payable?
$649.49.
Right? We created an account payable for my register. Okay. Next section is payroll liabilities, right? We haven't even have any employees yet. We didn't hire anybody to work for us. So in this case, nothing in the payroll liabilities, okay? Next one is going to be utilities payable, right? We haven't received a bill yet, so we don't have any of these, right? No city, no telephone, no gas, no water, okay? Let's see, unearned revenue. We haven't even bought our product yet, so we haven't even sold it yet, so there's no such thing as an unearned revenue, right? Sales tax, right? We haven't opened up our store yet. We won't open up until the 17th of June. So in this case, no sales tax yet. And of course, any loans that we took out, in this case, no business or truck loan, right? We haven't even bought our truck or took out a business loan. Okay. So next section we're going to do is equity. So in this case, as you can see, we only have one equity account, right? We only have our original investment, so owner's equity, right? We haven't added any extra money or took money away, and we haven't even closed out our accounting period yet. So in this case, one account and one account only for the owner's equity. And what is my account balance in my owner's equity account?
$30,000.
30,000. Right? That's how much equity I originally invested in my company for. It's $30,000. Okay. Next section's revenues, right? We haven't sold anything yet. We haven't even opened up shop yet. So our whole entire revenue section is untouched. Cost of goods sold is directly correlated to when you sell a product, right? It's directly correlated to inventory. So in this case, nothing here because we haven't sold anything yet. So last section is going to be expenses. Now, let's go ahead and go through every single expense. In this case, did we spend money on advertising expense? No, not yet. Any bank fees? Did we get charged any bank fees? Not that we know of, right? Because we haven't received our bank statement yet. First one I have is a business expense, right? I had to pay for Miss Kim Robinson to come and consult on interior designing. So, how much is my balance in my business expense account? $1,000. Right? Let's see what else we have here. Did we have any freight expense? Well, we haven't purchased inventory yet, so no freight expense. Okay. What about insurance expense? Yes, we do. We had to pay for the month of insurance to cover for June. And how much was that for? Right, it was over $195.83. Okay. That's how much insurance expense was for the month of June. Okay. Let's see, did we get any interest expense? So far, not so many because we just what? We don't have any interest to collect on anything right now. Labor expense, right? Did I subcontract anybody? I mean, I hired them, but did they finish their job? Did they bill me yet? So in this case, no. I haven't even incurred any labor or subcontractor expense. Okay? I haven't even hired a temporary worker yet. So in this case, no expense there. Okay? However, I did have a license and permit expense. Right? I needed to buy a license in order to start up my business. And how much was that for? $375. Okay. Let's see. What about loss on disposal of assets? What account balance do I have there? Okay. So if you remember, right, we when we acquired the business, right, we had $4,000 worth of furniture, but we end up reselling it out to someone else and only gained $2,000 out of it. So in this case, I end up losing this $2,000 because I paid for it originally $4,000, but only got $2,000 out of it. So I end up getting a loss when I sold my furniture. Okay. Office supplies expense. We haven't bought office supplies yet, so we haven't incurred any expenses on that. Next one is going to be payroll expense, right? We haven't hired anybody, so no payroll, no salaries, wages, no commissions expense, or any payroll taxes. Okay. Purchase expense. I haven't bought inventory yet, so purchase expense. Anything that has to deal with purchase expense, so returns and allowances and discounts, so none of those are there. However, what about rent expense? Yes, right? I had to pay for June rent for $1,500. Okay. Other than that, no travel expenses, no utilities expenses, no bad debt, no depreciation or amortization. So in this case, this is all the accounts that I've used so far in my book. So then, this case, the rule of thumb here is we're going to test to see if the total debits match and equal to my total credits. So what I like to do here so then I can quickly get the answer is I do like to take my debits, subtract my credits. So then whatever account balances I have here, it will automatically tell me how much money I am off by. Okay? So with that being said, right, I'm going to tally up my totals to get me my total balances on my debit and my total balances on my credit side. Okay? So equal sum, right? And what did everybody get? How many total credits and how many total debits? And I'll give you guys a couple minutes to figure this out.
I got 34,078 and 16 cents.
Okay, so you got 34. Okay, so let's test it real quick. So equal sum. Did you match on your end?
I did.
Okay, let's see. Okay, so I got 34.78.16. Is that what you got?
Yeah.
Perfect. So in this case, 34.78.16, 34.78.16. So that means my total debits match my total credits, and I have a zero balance difference between them. That means when I did my accounting, I did it correctly and accurately. So in this case, if I did put in that amount in my accounts payable, right, account, right, I would immediately figure out that I'm missing X amount of dollars, right? So let's go back to that very first section again where we made our mistake here. So if I forgot to add in that accounts payable account, right? And let's say I did put in 277030, right? Because I put in this formula right here, right? Now it tells me I got 34,078.16 on the debit, but I end up getting 33,419.79 on my credit. If I go ahead and take the difference between them, it tells me that I'm missing $658.37. So in this case, that will tell me it's on the credit side because, right? Because when I put my formula, if it's positive, that means I'm missing a credit. If it's negative, then I'm missing a debit, right? Or I'm just looking for the difference between these two numbers. And the difference you could see is $658.37. So in this case, right, easiest way I can find this is, well, I only have 3 liabilities, right? It can't be equity, and of course, it can't be my notes payable. So in this case, it must be my accounts payable that is wrong. All right, but for any other ones, that's where if you figure out that if you're missing, a debit, then you are going to have to go through each and every single one of these accounts to figure where that amount is. But in this case, again, if I figure out what $658.37 are, well, look at your bills. What did you acquire that was the total of $358 and or $658.37? In this case, that was my my desk. Okay. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and fix this amount here, right? Because again, we already caught this, right? It was 342867. Okay. And that's going to give my account balance to 0, meaning I have no discrepancies. So that is how we do our trial balance. Okay. Now, as you can see, right, like I've mentioned before, we are skipping through the steps of accounting cycle once again, right? We said to journalize first, then wait to the end of the accounting period is when you do your ledger. And then when you do your ledger, you do your adjusted trial balance. In this case, I'm having you guys do this so then you don't have to wait to the very end to find your problem. Because again, especially when we're doing this for our very first time, right? There's a possibility we can make errors at any given time. All right? So that's why safest bet is do it, especially posting to your ledger. You need to know what your checking account is, a balance is at all times. So if you're going to post to the ledger for your checking account, why not post to the ledger for all of your accounts right after your journal, right? You're still in the same accounting cycle, right? You're still doing step 3, then step 4. And then once you get to your trial balance, right, you don't have to wait to the very end to figure out whether your transactions are wrong. So in this case, if I didn't have that in there and I waited to the very end, then all my numbers would be thrown off, right? And then I would have to search through all of my transactions. In this case, this tells me that the first 7 days of transaction, and because my debits and credits match, that means this section is done. I don't ever need to look back at it for any reason because this right here matched my total debits with my total credits. That means no discrepancy here, okay, until the next set of business transactions, all right? Any questions in regards to the very first week of Coffee Cafe? right. All right, as promised, it's Monday.